Phantom Investor here, and I am going to tackle the progression of deaths worldwide. This is a topic I have shied away from, and because there's this complex curve, and hasn't been easy for me to look at. I mean, I could have if I had a little more incentive and then entered all the information to Excel spreadsheets. I could have done something, but typical fashion, I was lazy and I just waited for it to work out my favor. And in recent days it has. If you look at this part of the curve, see how nice and straight it is? See that? And it starts right around the 10K intercept. Now, normally I wait for the intercept to 100K to determine the period between tenfold increase, but I decided to do a different technique that I've done in another video, and I'll show what I mean. Here I have identified the date where we had an intercept at 10,000, and that's March 19th, and conveniently an intercept at 30,000 at March 28th. So that's a tripling and in 9 days. So it's very convenient, and that is along this straight part of the curve. So from that, I was able to do this little derivation. If I can get my camera in the right place. And here we have total worldwide deaths. And here I wrote down the numbers: March 19th, 10,030, March 28th, 30,861, very conveniently near 10,000, 30,000. Period of 9 days. So what I did is I took a log of base 3, put in the argument 10, and I got this number. And that basically says 3 to this exponent will equal 10. So I know the amount of time it takes to triple. I can plug this in, right? And that's multiplied this number by the period of days for one single tripling. So if I know it takes 9 days to triple once, multiply that period by this number, and you get this number. So here I go, 9 times, what did I do? Yeah, this is the period between tripling, and that's this number, right? And it equals 18.863. So that gives you the amount of days before we see a tenfold increase. So I've seen that. So here we have March 19th. Now March 19th is when we hit 10,000. And this is the amount of days required for a tenfold increase. And it leads you to April 7th. And that's where we'll see 100,000 total deaths. March 28th is up here, 30,000. And the tenfold increase is April 16th. And that's 300,000 total deaths. And if we take April 7th, which is this date, which was 100,000, add this period again, it brings us to April 26th, and we have 1 million total deaths worldwide. Now, there's a glimmer of hope in all this. If you watch my other videos, you would have seen the timeline of deaths in America, where I identified an 8-day period. Okay? Here it's like a 9-day period, just a triple. Here it's 8 days to tenfold. So if you compare the dates, here you're looking at April 7th to 100,000. Okay? 3 days later, right, United States of America has 100,000. That's pretty quick, following the entire world. Now, this is where it gets dicey. April 26, 1 million total deaths. Whereas we achieved that in America by April 18th. You know, we're achieving the same level of deaths 8 days before the world is, and that's impossible because the U.S. is inclusive in the world. So that's telling me, hopefully, that this timeline is much quicker than what the reality is going to be. Or maybe there's something screwed up with this, but I'm trusting this over this, okay? I'm trusting we're not going to see 1 million deaths in America by the 18th. It's going to take until the 26th for the world to see that many. If we see 1 million deaths in America, we're talking in, early to mid-May, okay? So that's the glimmer of hope that, the period of time I identify between March 17th and 25th will not carry over from the 25th of March to April 2nd or 3rd. We're not going to see that same tenfold increase in the same amount of days. It's going to be longer. And I think previously I had like a 13-day period, and we're probably going to go back to that. So I hope this was helpful. I mean, if you're looking at this, it gives you a glimmer of hope. I mean, when you look at these statistics, you look at the worst case scenarios and people saying, 20, 25 million perish in America. I mean, I'm thinking that we're flattening the curve. I'm thinking that perhaps we go into summer, that high heat, high humidity really puts a damper on this. The only issue I'm seeing with that is not everyone is going to be infected in America, and then the southern hemisphere is going to be on fire because the southern hemisphere is also coincidental with a lot of third world countries that do not have any medical infrastructure that's going to be able to battle this. So they're going to go through their winter months, and then when we come into our fall and heading into winter, there's going to be a vector back into the northern hemisphere. And that's where I worry. That's where I worry that, maybe only 10% of the population gets infected, and then we're still the 90% of us are left for infection for the coming winter, and then there won't be perhaps a vaccine in time. That's my real worry. So hopefully a miracle happens. Anyways, this is the Phantom Investor signing out, and stay safe, self-isolate, and hopefully we'll get through this.